So the mindset hack for today is actually not a mindset hack. I received some news from a good friend of mine. Everything turned out okay. But I've been sort of playing with this for a very long time, and it is about suicide prevention, right? And so it's not a mindset hack, but sometimes somebody else's brain gets hacked in chemicals and mental illness, and that leads to you potentially getting a call as a coach, as a human being. And I always assumed that to learn how to do suicide prevention, or to spot it, or what to say if you get the call, or what to do, would be very long training. You can train in it for a long time, and especially if you want to give it therapy, you need to train for a long time. But much like CPR, are there some really quick things that you could learn that can help a great deal. And so I'm not entirely sure yet at this moment in time if I can fit this in one video, or if I maybe continue in a mindset hack tomorrow morning. We'll see. But because I want to do a good job, so I hope you don't mind if you don't like this topic. But I recommend you watch it. And here is why. I have now been 5 times in a situation where I received a call like this. And I handled all of them really well, so that's not the problem there. I handled them really well, but I remember the thoughts that I had. The thoughts and the emotions and the feelings that I had differed. There's been moments where I got angry for being called. I handled it, but I felt, why me? There's also been a call where I was really in denial, and thoughts about, is this real? And ultimately, am I saying the right thing? It's really a hodgepodge of thoughts and emotions. But I remember one consistent thought in those calls and in those moments was, shit, I wish I took training. And so I wish I learned, and my last time, and I wish. And so I never did. And I decided in September, after another one of these calls, I decided to hire someone who is an expert trainer in the field of this CPR for suicide prevention. And I ended up taking it with a friend of mine who is a therapist in Sweden, who noticed that increasingly speaking, especially from young generation of people under 30, she's getting a lot of these types of thoughts, right? Well, first of all, I'd like to say something about what suicide is and isn't, right? There is the way that it displays in a teenager versus an adult can be there for different reasons. Obviously life experience, hormonal, those things can all play a factor. Mental illness can play a factor. We cannot diagnose that because we're in essence, we're not therapists. So I'm not going to teach you how to do therapy at all in this particular mindset hack. And I guess the one that I'll probably have to do tomorrow on it as well. So how can you spot it, right? How can you spot it? Well, one thing that what kind of struck me is that a lot of us will get a feeling like, I think this person is thinking about it, right? And then you start to talk yourself out of it. I don't know this person very well. Why do I think that? You just get a feeling. But keep in mind, we are bombarded every every second by 11 billion bits of information. If you trained with me more than a couple of years ago, your manual says something else, but science now says 11 million bits of information. Okay, so there is the gut feel. That could be one. Another thing that sort of you need to be paying attention and keeping your eyes open is for people going through very hard time, and something is not, there's something off for you, right? Look for very sudden behavioral changes or changes in the way that someone looks. Like for instance, they always had long hair and they suddenly cut it short, right? Or they usually really take care of themselves and then suddenly they don't. They suddenly quit their job, those types of things, like sudden changes in behavior, sudden like shifts and almost rash types of things. Start paying attention. And of course, if someone is down and dark and they usually aren't, those can be also, of course, telltale signs. So pay attention. Now, what do you do when you wonder? You know, the sudden changes, the weird behavior, the out of pattern thoughts, behaviors, feelings, your gut sense, all those things. What is it that you then do, right? Because you aren't sure. Should you ask or not? The scientists have determined that you should ask. Then how do you ask it? You call it by its name. Do not avoid the term. I have no reason for saying this. I have observed in you this. I get a gut feel. I could be wrong, but I need to ask you a question. Please do not be offended or hurt if I ask you. I could be wrong. It's just something I sense on the inside. So I'm going to ask you, are you thinking of committing suicide? Use the word. Don't go hurting yourself. Are you having special thought? No, call it what it is. Now here's the thing, guys. You're not going to give anyone an idea. Oh, I never thought about this before. No, call it by its name. If you get the feeling, ask. And I know it's tempting that when you get the feeling to walk away. But I can tell you out of personal experience that that is an incredibly dumb move. Yes, you're not responsible. Yes, it was mental illness, but you'll be asking yourself the question. Right? So, these are not clients, by the way, if you're worried about it. And so, ask the question, okay? Now, do me a favor. If you want to know more about the details, how to observe it, then feel free to Google it. But tomorrow, I'm going to get into what is it that when someone says yes, you know, what is it that you do? And in fact, if they're standing there cool, calm, and collected, I can give that away to you. If they're standing there cool, calm, and collected, you need to make sure that they go see a therapist, right? And because they need to go to therapy. So tomorrow, I am going to teach you how you can sort of assess how big the threat really is, what to do, what to say, and so that you get a better feeling. So this is the first part of a mindset hack that is in the mindset hack, but I believe is incredibly important information. And I think almost in today's world, we should teach the younger generation who's hanging out with the younger generation this particular way of assessing that, to make mental illness an honest and open discussion. And I think that young people need mentors. I've said that before in other mindset hacks. Are TV shows glamorizing suicide? Yes, I think they are. But why would you go into the why? We're not therapists. We're not assessing what the media, who cares? This is a human being. You need to ask them the question, and they may need help. Not your help, somebody else's help. But what do you do if you're cornered? And how do you assess that? So that's tomorrow. If you're interested in our courses, and discount code, because the pre-sale is still going on, courses.globalnlptraining.com or courses.forpositive.com. Check it out. Drop me a note. And also, if you would like to receive the first section of the training free of charge, also let me know. Yeah, I'll add you to the list. And 9 o'clock Los Angeles tomorrow morning, noon Miami, 6 p.m. Amsterdam, and midnight on Bali. And those are